I read 14 books in May. Let's talk about them. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. Today we are doing my May reading wrap up. I read 14 books this month and honestly we have had such a good reading month. I'll put up on the screen my stats of the month, but as you can see we've had 2 5-stars, quite a lot of 4-stars, and I read over 5,000 pages, so it's been a really good month. We started off with a 24-hour readathon in which I read 5 books. Which is the most I've done. One of them was only 166 pages though, so it still counts. Okay, I read 5 books. Okay, the first book I read was The Roommate by Rosie Dinan. This one I rated 4 stars. This was so fun. So this was the first book I read of the month, but also the first book I read in my 24-hour readathon, which is up if you do want to watch it. Their banter was so good. This was just such a fun book and I really enjoyed them as a couple. So we're following Clara, she's moved across the country to live with her childhood best friend who she has been in love with for years. And when she gets there, she finds out, oh, hang on a minute, he is leaving to go on tour with his band, and she's actually going to be living with this random man that her best friend has loaned the room out to, and she doesn't know him, and she's like, literally, I've moved across the country because you told me to, for a fresh start, so we could, and so she's very disappointed. Enter Josh, who is her new roommate, and who is a porn star. Listen, it's very interesting, it's very fun. Like I said, the banter was so good. They had such a good friendship, so I highly recommend this book. Then I read Meet Me at the Convenience Store by the Sea by Sonoko Machida. This one is a follow-on from The Convenience Store by the Sea. It's a shorter book than the first one. This is following some characters that we met in the first book. I just love this series. I love these characters, and it's again left it open-ended for possibly a third book, which I'd be very intrigued by. I would kind of love to see this adapted into an anime, because the whole premise is that the owner of the convenience store is so attractive that people physically can't handle it, and we're following people's side stories. Like each chapter is following a different person solving a problem in their life, or overcoming something, or learning something new about themselves. But in the background we've just got Mr. Shiva being like the most attractive man in the whole entire world. So it would just be really fun as an anime. I would love to see it adapted, but either way I'm hoping for a third book in this series. And just look at that cover, it's absolutely stunning. It's just the cherry blossom, and then on the back with the cats. This was so fun, and I rated this a 4 stars also. Then I read Praise by Sarah Kate. This is the first book in the Salacious Players Club series, and I've been wanting to get this book for so long. It never happened until now, and I was so glad to read it. The only thing is, her name is Charlotte, but she goes by Charlie on the back, and then it just didn't really click. And Emerson had a real thing for calling her Charlotte, so it's probably a good job I didn't listen to the audiobook for this one. Like, I listened to a little bit of The Roommate and Meet Me at the Convenience Store by the Sea on audio, that was fine. It's a good job I didn't listen to this one, because I think I would have just burst into flames, quite frankly. But this was really spicy, really fun. I rated this 4.25, and I think I gave it a 4 chili pepper rating because it's a lot. So we're following Charlie, like I say. She gets a job with Emerson, who is one of the owners of the Salacious Players Club, which is like a new sex club that's opening. She is his secretary, and not in a dom sub kind of way, but she wants it to be in a dom sub kind of way. And they're kind of exploring that. But the kicker is, he is her ex-boyfriend's dad. And I do love an ex-boyfriend's dad trope when done well. This was good. This was a very fun time, and it was so easy to just binge in one sitting. So again, I highly recommend this. I'm dreading the next one because it's stepsister, and I don't like anything sibling dynamic-y. Step or otherwise. I don't know. The step sibling thing is weird. I will read For the Fans by Nala Kay eventually, because they are step siblings as adults. They didn't grow up together. Whereas I'm not sure in Eyes on Me how that relationship works. I'm still gonna give it a go because I own it. But I'm excited for the rest of the series aside from that. If anyone has read Eyes on Me, please let me know in the comments. Non-spoilery, if it's palatable. And then, okay, so those three were the books I read on the first day of my readathon. Then second day, I read Bad Bishop by LJ Shen. This was 5 stars. I ate this book up. Okay, Tiernan is completely unhinged. Completely. I will say, obviously read your trigger warnings, they are on the front of the book. There is one in particular involving an eye being taken out that happens at the very beginning of the book, and it was graphic. And eyes freak me out, which they shouldn't. I used to work in an optician's, but they do. Tiernan is just like completely unbothered. And it's kind of like, guys, can you hurry up taking my eye out? Because I've got to go check on my clubs. Like, I've got shit to do, you know? There was just something about him for how unhinged he was. And I think he was more unhinged in the beginning. And then he got less, like, weird, I suppose, as the book went on. But this was so fun. Yes, look up your trigger warnings before you read this book, because there was one in particular that a lot of people are going to struggle with, I think. I had one of this. Normally I don't look at trigger warnings before I go into a book. I had one of them spoiled for me, but because they said how it went was fine and how it worked out, like, it's not fine what actually happened, but it made me think, okay, I'm fine to read this book. So we're following Lila. She is from like the Italian side of the mafia in New York. Something happens to her one night and something bad happens as a result of that. So her family has decided to marry her off, basically, in an attempt to not keep her safe, but actually just to save the family name and make them not look like they've been made a fool of. In comes Tiernan, who is part of the Irish mafia in New York. They're a much smaller group than the Italian mafia, but basically they're like, he's the only one crazy enough to do this, so we'll ask him. And he goes along with it, and my god, for being such a crazy man, like, oh, he was just so unhinged. He was so funny. So it's marriage of convenience. It's a bit of a hate to love on her side. Like, she hates him. Like, she tries to kill him multiple times. And every time he's like, stop trying to hit me, I'll get a boner. Like, he was just so fun. I thoroughly enjoyed this. It was so good. So yeah, I rated it 5 stars. And it's also probably like a 4 Chili Pepper rating, but in a different way to praise, because it's darker. I have heard mixed things about Twisted Porn. I do own it. I am going to read it fairly soon, I think. I'm hoping I enjoy it, but I am aware that there's been mixed things said about it. So, okay. And then last for the readathon, I read Holding the Reins by Paisley Hope. This one I rated a 4.25, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. This was so good. I was so excited to read this when I realised he is kind of a cowboy. He's not a cowboy, but like, he has the cowboy vibe. Ex-hockey player. This is brother's best friend. This is kind of like, they've known each other through childhood because he is her brother's best friend. Nash went off to the NHL, became a professional hockey player, was very successful, bit of a ladies' man. Now he's retired and come home and he owns the local bar. Meanwhile, Cece has just broken up from a very toxic relationship and she moves home to her family ranch, and sparks fly with Nash. It's a little bit kind of like hidden at first. It was just so fun. Such a giggly fun time. This really, if you like the Chestnut Spring series, I think you'll really like this one as well. It felt very reminiscent of specifically the Chestnut Spring series. Obviously I love all of Elsie Silver's work. Chestnut Springs is my favourite, and it has its own particular vibe, and I think this is very similar. So then I went on to binge the rest of the series. So Training the Heart, I gave 4 stars. This one we're following Wade, which is I think he's the oldest brother, and Ivy, who is new to the ranch as an employee. She's basically filling in as maternity cover for one of the horse trainers, and straight away Wade does not like her, and there's no real reason why. He's just a growly man, and honestly I was obsessed with him. There was forced proximity, there was like just grumpy sunshine. This was so fun. What I liked about this couple in particular is they had very similar goals professionally. Like they're what they wanted out of life and what they wanted out of work was very similar, and because they worked together, it just like they just had this like connection that was just so good, and they had so much in common. I don't know, I just loved them honestly. So this one was really good. My favourite I do think is the first one though, I'll be honest. Then I read Riding the High. This one I gave 4 stars. This one's following Cole, who is one of the brothers as well, Wade and Cece's brother. And then we're following Ginger, who is one of Cece's friends. And there was crumbs of Cole and Ginger in book 1 and 2, and I loved it because it was very much like she loves to wind Cole up, and Cole is always the one there to look after her, take her home from their weekly Sangria Sunday nights out. And it's, I don't know, I think the crumbs leading up to this book really just added to this. So Cole is a single daddy, and the mum is a bit useless, to be honest. Like, just someone who didn't really want to be a mum and can't be bothered to be a mum. So he's starting a new role in his job, and it's now the summer holidays. So he's like, I'm kind of stuck here for trying to do all this extra stuff at work and also be there for my daughter. So Ginger, who is a school teacher, is kind of hired to be her nanny over the summer. So she moves in. So it's forced proximity. This was so fun. This was so fun. Watching them, they had a friendship anyway, but watching that friendship just turn into more, I loved. I think Cole and Ginger are my second favourite couple from the series. And this might be my second favourite book as well, actually, because I loved seeing that. It does say on the back, it is accidental marriage as well. Like, they get married accidentally in Vegas, which was just so funny. Yeah. Then we have Freeing the Wild, which I rated a 3.75 stars. So this is my least favourite in the series, but I still really enjoyed it. I absolutely loved it still. This one, we're following Cassie and Hayden. So Cassie is Ivy from book 2's sister, and she is a country singer. She's kind of like a rising star. And then Hayden is one of the ranch hands on the family ranch. So they meet. She's trying to do some like promo for her new single on the ranch, get a shot on a horse, and she picks a very unruly horse and gets thrown off him. And Hayden's like, you've put yourself and the horse at danger for what? For social media. Like, he's really annoyed at her, but he's also, you can tell, very attracted to her, and he kind of finds her endearing. Meanwhile, she's like, wow, this guy's really hot, but he is bossy, I don't like this. But after something not very nice happens to Cassie, she ends up staying on the ranch for a little bit for a bit of R&R. Again, it's forced proximity. They're in cabins like right next to each other. There's a lot of forced proximity in this, really. But he really helps her to kind of get back on her feet and kind of heal from the trauma of what happened and fight for what she actually wants, rather than just kind of being told, this is what you have to do, suck it up and deal with it type of thing. So yeah, I did like this. I don't know why this is my least rated. I think I just wasn't super invested in the couple, I'll be completely honest. I think, yeah, it just didn't hit the same as the books, I'll be honest. But I still really enjoyed the whole process of reading it, so. And then the final book, Chasing the Fire, this is a 4 stars. We're following Olivia, who is Cece and Ginger's friend, so you got like the 3 main friends of the group. And then Asher, who is the chief firefighter, I don't know. Again, there was like crumbs of their relationship in the book before. It was a very interesting relationship. Okay, this one, again, it's on the back, but I will say, because some people just don't want to read this trope, this is accidental pregnancy. And I don't mind it if done well. I think most of the ones I've read have been done well, to be fair. I don't mind an accidental pregnancy. It's not something I want for myself, but I don't mind reading it about other people, because I get very excited when people who want to be pregnant get pregnant. Like, if someone really wants it, I'm so excited for them. I love babies, they're very cute, but I like to hold them, give them a cuddle, and then hand them back as soon as they start pooping. So yeah, I don't mind accidental pregnancy at all. This one, yeah, they have a one-night stand, and next thing you know, Olivia's pregnant, and Asher really steps up, but he has a lot of family trauma and a lot of reasons why he himself feels like he's not cut out to be a dad, and there's a little bit of danger there. Like, he's got a very morally grey past. It was very interesting. This was really fun. It was really fun. I did really enjoy it. I loved Olivia and Asher. She really like softened him, and he was just really supportive of her. And he was like, he is the kind of person where if you're not in a relationship, or even if you are in a relationship, whether it's a planned or unplanned pregnancy, Asher is the man you want to be having that child with, because he was so supportive. He was there every step of the way. He was like, look, I'm worried about this, but I will be there for you in any way I can. I will take any burden off your shoulders. I will, you know, he was just so, like, he was her rock throughout the whole time. And so I just absolutely adored him. And also he's grumpy, and like I say, morally grey past, so I highly recommend this whole series. I had a really great time reading all of them. Like I say, perfect if you love Elsie Silver. And they're very spicy, like they're very fun. So I fully recommend this series. Okay, then I read Protect, which is also by Paisley Hope, but it's part of the Sky Ridge Hot Shots, I think it's called, the series. There's 3 books and each book is written by a different person. So I read Fight by Sloane St. James last month, so I thought I'll read the next 2 this month. So I read Protect, which is Paisley Hope's book. I thought it was fitting to go on to it since I had literally just read her Silver Pine series anyway. So this one I rated a 3.75. I can't remember the names of who we're following. Did I write them down? I didn't, actually. I wrote down for the next one, what was Protect about? This is what I get for not being prepared and writing my reviews in my reading journal before filming these. Oh yeah, okay. We've got Rowan and we've got Violet. So Violet is a single mum, and Rowan is one of the hotshots who's like friends with Cal from the first book. They have a little bit of a past. So Violet's twin brother has passed, and Rowan was her twin brother's best friend growing up. I don't know why I'm holding my pen and gesturing like this. Yeah, Rowan and her brother were best friends growing up, and they both became hotshots together. And unfortunately, during their first year as rookies, the brother passed away. And something happened between Violet and Rowan during high school. And so it's like a second chance, basically, relationship. And it's single mum. It was really fun. I really enjoyed how Rowan was doing everything he could to try and respectfully get her to listen to him and wanting to rebuild a relationship. He was kind of like, okay, well, she's back in town. She's divorced now. Like, this is my chance to make things right. And what happened when you find out the reason that things went down back in the day, you just kind of like, you just end up feeling really bad for him. You feel really bad for both of them. They both were just like robbed of a beautiful relationship. But if none of that had happened, then she wouldn't have had her daughter, and you know. So yeah, it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. Like I say, second chance. Rowan was a great man, quite frankly. He was a lovely stepdad. He was just so there for them. They both had a lot of trauma, and I think they kind of, how much they both loved Jacob, and the fact they could bond over that, and the fact they could bond over that and kind of heal each other's trauma in relation to how much they loved Jacob and how much their loss affected them. I really liked their relationship. So, okay, then I read Honor, which is Danielle Baker's book. I rated this one a 3 stars. Okay, this one was cute and fun, and I enjoyed reading it, which is why it's rated a 3 stars. But I hated that he called her mama all the time. All the time. In every situation, sexual and non-sexual, he called her mama. And a lot of the things he said to her was really cringe. So this one we're following Xander, who we meet in the first book. The first book opens up with a funeral, and it's Xander's dad's funeral. So Xander is now the superintendent of this hotshot team. And then we've got Teddy, who is Cal from the first book's sister. And maybe I couldn't remember this in the first book, or it didn't really get addressed very, I don't know. But in the first book, she's married. And now she's widowed. And she was widowed when she just found out she was pregnant with their 3rd child. Xander is trying to be there for they end up being neighbours because Cal moves her closer to him. Even though he's away a lot, he just wants her to be closer in case he can help in any way. And so she ends up being neighbours with Xander. So it's a bit like more forced proximity in that way. And he does help her a lot But what I didn't really like, aside from his cringy, dirty talk, well, like he would say these really cringy, like forward things to her while also being like, yeah, but I could never be in a relationship with her. I'm just never going to be in a relationship ever with anyone. I didn't like that. I just thought it was too soon. Okay, her husband had been dead not even a year when they started really developing feelings for each other. I mean, Xander already did, but she was feeling feelings for another man after just giving birth to her dead husband's baby, who, like, that was her childhood sweetheart. That was the love of her life. It's not like they had a bad relationship and he died. Like, she was fully in love with this man. And not even a year later, she's telling another man she loves him. I just thought it was too soon. I just thought they had like a whole fight about how, oh, she's never gonna let her dead husband go. Like, she's always gonna be waiting for his ghost. I'm like, he's not even been dead a year. Okay, let the woman grieve. They've been together like 15 years. Like, that's not enough time to grieve the love of your life dying. And I don't know, I just felt it was way too soon. I just think it should have been left a couple years for her to really have grieved and felt all of the feelings that you need to feel to eventually be able to move on healthily. I don't know. So that's why I didn't like that one as much. It was more just the timeline made me kind of go a bit quick. Then I read The Favourites by Lane Fargo, and this was also a 5 stars. This was so good. I read this in 2 days, and one of those days I was at work and then had to go out for tea for my dad's birthday. So I came home and literally read this and stayed up until nearly 2 a.m. I had to be up at 6. I absolutely devoured this book. I immersive read it, so I read it and listened to the audiobook because there are like interview part and all of that is like fully casted. So you've got your main narrator who reads the regular chapters, but the bits that's like an interview are all narrated. So it's a little bit like Daisy Jones and the Six that way. This, I cannot get over how much this physically hurt me, this book. You know when you're young, and I'm only saying when you're young because I've not been heartbroken as an adult because I'm perpetually single, but I remember being young and my first boyfriend, and many times, because he wasn't a nice boyfriend, I had my heart broken. And you know that feeling of just a shooting pain right here when something has happened that has just broken your heart? That happened to me multiple times while reading this book. I was doing my makeup one day and literally I was listening to it and I had to stop, pause the audiobook and pace around my room because I was devastated by something that had just happened. And oh, it's just so messy, and in some ways it's so toxic, but you're just rooting for these characters. It's just, yeah. If you don't know what this book is about, you're following two childhood sweethearts who are trying to go to the Olympics. That's their goal. So in this book, you're following Kat and Heath. Kat has been obsessed with figure skating since watching the Olympics one year and seeing one of the skaters, the skater that won gold, and just became obsessed with the skater and decided she wanted to do that as well. And then she meets Heath when she's a teenager and kind of gets him involved in figure skating, and they decide like they're gonna aim for figure skating at the Olympics together. So it's following their journey doing that, and they meet other skaters, and it's like they struggle financially a lot at first, and they have just so much happens in this book. So much happens, and it spans so many years. I think it spans like 20 years or more. Like, and like I said, it's just so heartbreaking. But I was so happy with the ending. I really was. Like, I felt so many feelings while reading this book. I don't want to go into much about what it's about because I went in fairly blind. It's just, if you imagine Daisy Jones and the Six and the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, like, it's very similar. Like, it feels a bit like that. I don't know. I have no notes. It was perfection. I love this book. I've been thinking about it so much since I finished reading it, and it was such an easy 5 stars. So all I can say is I highly recommend reading this book. Okay, then I read Another Love Story by Ashley Poston. This one I rated a 3.75 stars. If the whole book was like the final third of the book, this would have been a much higher rating, but I felt the beginning and the middle was a little bit slow at some points, and I struggled to kind of feel invested. So we're following Eileen, and she is on her way. She's meant to be meeting a bunch of friends for like a week in a log cabin to just read their romance books and drink wine and have fun together, but all of her friends have cancelled. So she's like, you know what, I need this. I'm just going to go on my own. And on her way, she ends up accidentally, somehow, ending up in the world, I think it's called Aloriton, I don't know how to actually pronounce it, of her favourite romance series. So she gets to meet all her favourite characters and see what's happened sort of after the happily ever after. But the series isn't finished. So she meets the bookshop owner, who she doesn't know who he is in the series. She's like, I don't remember there being a bookshop owner. Like, the bookshop was closed. The romance kind of starts from there. I did really like Anders. I think a lot of reviews I saw when this came out, a lot of people didn't really like Anders or felt like there wasn't much of a connection. I did like him, and I felt like they had a decent enough connection to feel like the romance was believable. There was just something missing from this story, and I can't put my finger on what it was. I love the idea of going into the world of your favourite book series and being able to experience it and meet the characters, but even something there was a little bit lacking. But the end of the book I really enjoyed, like how everything was sort of fixed in the town, how they managed to go about that, and the ending that you got of the series in the town. Really enjoyed that. And then, I don't want to say anything and like spoil. I enjoyed the ending, okay? I did really enjoy the ending. So this was fun, I do recommend it, and I really enjoy Ashley Poston's writing, and I love her magical realism. I still need to read The Dead Romantics, and I think Sounds Like Love was her last year release, and then she's got one this year, which I've heard a lot of good things about. So I'm definitely going to read more of Ashley Poston's books. And the final book I read this month was Belladonna by Adlin Grace. This one I rated 4 stars. I really enjoyed this. This is a YA, and it's kind of like a dark gothic YA. It does read more upper YA, but I did definitely feel the young adult of it. It didn't feel like an adult. In this book, we're following Signa, who has been orphaned, and basically death seems to follow her everywhere she goes, both literally and figuratively, because family members keep dying, guardians keep dying, and death as an actual physical being keeps turning up. This was just really fun, honestly. There was kind of a bit of a murder mystery. In a way, there was like, she was trying to figure out who is trying to hurt a member of her family. Was a previous death actually malicious, and what was going on there? And I was not expecting for who it was to have been who it was. I did not expect that. So I was thoroughly shocked by the ending. And the romance was so good as well. I did guess something to do with the romance, because I was like, I was not aware of anyone else being involved, so I put 2 and 2 together quite quickly. But yeah, this was really fun, and I'm definitely going to continue with the rest of the series, especially since the way it ended and how it's opened the story for what the next book's going to be. I'm excited, and thankfully it's a finished trilogy, so I can just read it and not have to wait anymore. So I'm excited to finish this series, but I don't think it's going to be in June, because I have a very stacked fantasy month already for June. So those are all the books I read in May. My favourite book, I think, has to be The Favourites. I cannot explain to you how much it emotionally impacted me. Yeah, let me know what your favourite book was that you read in May in the comments. Like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!